Every journey begins with a single step. Mine was when I decided I wanted to know more about my Irish heritage. This is me, Tia Quirk, and this is just some of my extended family on my dad's side. We hail from the great country of Ireland on Brittas Road in the small town of Fureys in County Tipperary. My last name has gone through 3 different spellings over the years. Our family crest is a pear tree, and we have a family motto, which translates to, follow what is right. The next step of my journey was learning who I descend from and how we got to America. Through my dad's cousin Chris and my great-aunt Jeannie, I learned that my oldest known relative is Thomas Quirk and his brother James. James and wife Sarah stayed in Ireland, but Thomas came to America in 1842 aboard the SS Wave. He landed in New York and moved to Fairport, where he married Mary Taylor. Together they had 7 children: Mary, Martin, Jeremiah, Michael, Kate, Morris, and Bridget. I descend from Michael. He moved to Harrisburg, New York, and married Mary Clearhar, and they had 1 child together, Eugene Quirk, my great-grandpa. After Mary died, Michael had another child named C. Winford Quinn, but unfortunately we do not know who her mother is. Eugene moved to Harvey, Illinois, and married my great-grandma, Jane Rose Moncton. Her father is George Moncton, mother is Ellen Cluhan, and her sisters are Mary, Ellen, and Anna. Eugene and Jane had 4 children together: Jean Ellen, Robert, Frank, and my grandpa George. In 2010, I was fortunate enough to have been able to visit the house they grew up in Harvey, Illinois. Jean Ellen became a sister and lives in Michigan. Robert married Veronica, and they had 7 sons: Gerald, Raymond, Tim, Philip, Robert, Martin, and David. Gerald never married. Raymond married wife Sharon, and they had 3 sons: Raymond Jr., who married Rita, Kevin, who married Amy, and Michael, who married Caroline. Tim married Lane, and he has 2 children, Sean and Ashley. Philip married Dawn, and he has 1 daughter, Beth. Robert married Susan, and they had 4 children, Steve, Patricia, Amy, and Joseph. Steve had 1 son named Joshua. Patricia married Tony, and they had 1 daughter named Alyssa. And Joseph married Jamie, and they had 4 children, Nathan, Brenna, Gage, and Declan. Martin married Mary Rose, and he had 2 children, Brett and Brian. And David married Kelly, and they had 2 sons, Matthew, who married Anomi, and they had 1 daughter named Bella, and Andrew. Frank married Teresa, and they had 4 children, Mary Ellen, Teresa, James, and Michael. Michael became a brother and currently lives in Illinois. Mary Ellen married Michael, and they had 3 children, Megan, who married Gary, and they had 2 sons, Gary Jr. and Quinn. Michael, who married Abby, and they had 2 children, Mia and Sam. And Kevin, who married Kathy, and they had 3 daughters, Lucy, Caitlin, and Claire. Teresa married Dennis, and they had 3 children, Brian, Julie, and Jean Ellen, who married Greg, and he has 1 son named Jack. James married Kristen, and they had 3 children, Randy, Colleen, who married Travis, and Lauren, who married Nathan. George married Eleanor Geisenhoff, my grandma, and had 2 children, my dad Patrick and my aunt Colleen. My grandparents moved them to St. Paul, Minnesota, and raised them there. Colleen had 3 children, Megan, who has a son named Brody, Adam, and Quentin. Patrick married my mom, Karen Kegley, and had myself and my 3 brothers, Ryan, James, and Colin. Ryan has 1 daughter named Adeline. They built a house in Woodbury, Minnesota, where they raised the 4 of us. We have come a long way since Ireland and have branched out to different places and states. Starting with my niece Adeline, we extend 7 generations, and through my great-grandma's family, we reach 8. As satisfying as it was to know all this information, I wanted to see where I started. And I, being in New York, decided to take a trip to visit my ancestors who made my family possible. They are buried at St. Mary's Cemetery, Church of the Assumption, in Puritan, New York, just outside Fairport, where Thomas first settled. along with Thomas, his wife Mary, their daughter Bridget, son Martin and his 3 sons, son Jeremiah, his wife Julia, and 2 of their children, Thomas and Catherine, are also buried there. It was incredible to be able to sit and be so near a few of my ancestors.
Oh, how ironic. There's little clovers growing over here. So this is it. This is Thomas's grave. I mean, as far as my family is concerned, this is the first known relative that we know of. And he's right here.
After visiting the graves, I decided to make a large leap in my journey. I booked a ticket with my dad to Shannon, Ireland, to see for myself where it all began. When we arrived, we took a bus from Innis, and with camera in hand, the adventure began. We toured around a few towns to get a sense of our culture. While in Dublin, we toured the factory of their main export and learned the art of pouring Guinness. The last place in Dublin we visited was St. Patrick's Cathedral. There was an area dedicated to those who served during both World Wars. So I lit a candle in remembrance of my Grandpa George, who served under Patton's 3rd Army, 2nd Cavalry during World War II. On the day we journeyed to Fureys, a rainbow gave us the luck of the Irish, and my excitement grew to see the homeland of my roots.
We will shortly be arriving at Thesis. Please mind the gap. Thank you for travelling with Euro there.
We visited the Church of St. Mary, where Sarah, James's wife, is buried. Even though the graveyard was small, we couldn't find the exact location of her grave because the stones were hard or impossible to read. So we picked the nicest looking one and called it hers, and I paid my respects to my great-great-great-aunt. I stood in amazement that my roots started here.
It's crazy to think that this is where they went to church and this is their parish, and they walked this road and they saw everything that we see right now. It's completely nuts to think that this is where my family started. It's unreal to me right now that I'm actually here walking their footsteps.
As I listened to the bells chime, I felt closer to my ancestors. I was walking a mile in their shoes. A few blocks down from the church was Brittis Road. Anticipation was growing, and I could sense everything coming full circle. I was so close. Everything I'd hoped and dreamed of was right around the corner. I was home. This was the birthplace of my ancestors, and I was standing there. As I let it all sink in, all I could think of was, I made it. I'm at the start of my roots. This road took them to school, work, America. This small farm was where it all began. I didn't want to say goodbye. But I knew I would be back soon to walk another mile in their shoes and to make my own mark. And as I took off over the rolling hills of green, I was happy to have been able to experience this with my dad. So I didn't say goodbye, but a slán go foil. I'll see you soon, Ireland. But I didn't stop my adventure there. I went back to see Thomas and my ancestors with a little surprise. I brought some flowers and rocks I had collected from Fureys to lay by his grave. I wanted to bring him back a little piece of home.
It's really crazy to think that I've been in New York for 4 years, and I had no idea up until right before I leave that my entire family on my dad's side came over here from Ireland and lived here. And I'm thankful every day that I'm born into a family like this.
I'm nowhere near the finish line of my journey. The hunt to discover more branches on my tree will always continue. But I know I can say I learned a tremendous amount about myself, and I now have a deeper appreciation for my heritage, and I'm proud of my Irish roots. I will forever try to live by my family's motto, by staying true and following what is right.
It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know.